one day there was a 4-year-old girl and her mother. They were going out for a walk. And along the path, the little girl picked up something off the ground and started to put it in her mouth. And her mother said, "Don't do that." The girl says, "Why?" And the mom replied, "Because it's been on the ground. You don't know where it's been. It's dirty and it has germs." The daughter looked up at her mom with total admiration and said, "Mommy, how do you know all this stuff? You're so smart." The mother said quickly, "Well, all moms know this stuff. It's on the mommy test. You have to know it or else they don't let you be a mommy." Oh. So they walked on a little further in silence, and about 2 minutes later, the girl stopped and said, "Oh, I get it. So if you don't pass the mommy test, that means you have to be the daddy." Exactly. Am I right, moms? Oh. What do you guys say? The dads, what do you say? Oh. Be careful. You know, I did that at the other Mass, and I said, "You might not get any dinner tonight." Some guy said, "That's okay. It'll be better for me." I was like, "Oh." And his wife said, "He'll be sleeping on the sofa tonight." Well, anyways, a heartfelt Happy Mother's Day to all our moms here at Mass. You know, the vocation to motherhood is not easy. And you know, the perfect person, perfect human being after Jesus was his own mother. You see, a mother rejoices when her children rejoice, and she suffers when her children suffer. So motherhood is a wonderful, amazing, and also scary vocation, but you all do it so well. So we honor you and we thank you and we pray for you today at Mass, dear moms. Now, by the way, my mom is here. She's sitting in the front row, and don't cry, Ma. She's with my dad here, so it's good having you both. So given that it's Mother's Day, I'd like to share with you a story about a remarkable woman, a mother, who lived in the early part of the 20th century. Her name is Gianna Molla. Molla is her last name, her first name, Gianna. Okay, remember that, Gianna. Gianna was born near Milan in 1922. She was a great student. She loved her faith as well, and she was active in her parish. She participated in the youth group. She helped with the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And in 1949, Gianna became a doctor, and she opened up a medical practice in her hometown and served as a pediatrician as well as a gynecologist. Very rare for a woman, especially in Italy in those days, to be a doctor. Through much prayer and discernment, she was called to the married life. She met her husband, Pietro, and together they formed a family which they called a cenacle of prayer, where Jesus was at the center. They married in 1954, and they had 3 beautiful children. Well, at the end of 1961, some of you could remember 1961. I don't, I wasn't born yet, so anyway. Well, in 1961, while she was in the 2nd month of her pregnancy with her 4th child, the doctors diagnosed Gianna with a fibroma, a benign tumor in her uterus. They had to have surgery to remove it. And as a physician herself, she knew that the risk that was posed to the pregnancy if she did this surgery. And she pleaded with her doctor, "If you must make a decision between me or the baby, do not hesitate. Choose the baby. I insist on it. Save my child." The surgery happened, and they successfully removed the fibroma, and the pregnancy continued. But on Good Friday, 1962, Gianna gave birth to her daughter by cesarean section. But after the operation, the mother's medical condition quickly worsened. And for 1 week, she had an excruciating pain in her abdomen. And she went home, and on her bed, she would exclaim over and over again, "Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I love you." And 1 week after the birth of her last daughter, Gianna died. the age of 39. She left behind her young husband and her 4 young children who are no older than 5 years old. In the eyes of the world, this would be labeled as careless, as crazy, as foolish. But no, what she did, we call that Christian. Jesus was very clear today, wasn't he, in the gospel? There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And if it was true for Jesus, and if it was true for Jannah, it's going to be true for us. If we want to be known as friends of God, if we want to be known as good Catholics, we got to love like he did. And that's not warm and fuzzy. That means we lay down our lives. We put aside our selfishness, we put aside our pride, and we give ourselves in service to others. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, yeah, Padre, I can't do what that woman did. It's crazy. I can't do that. And you're right. Many of us, we couldn't. But you know what? Her decision to undergo pain and suffering to save her baby didn't happen by chance. It was just simply a crowning moment of a life well lived. You see, Gianna was deeply religious. She went to church all the time. She loved the things of life, art and music and sports. She loved fashion. She would go to those, fashion shows in Milan. She'd go to the La Scala Opera. She would go skiing and mountain climbing. She saw her profession as a doctor, not just as a job to pay the bills. She saw it as a vocation. She loved her husband even when he drove her nuts. She loved her kids. And so her decision at the end of her earthly life was just simply a culmination of a life of virtue, a life of holiness, and a life of joy. In short, this woman lived life well. And that's the message that I want all of us to take home today. Live your life well. Don't sit around waiting for years to pass and then die. Get up. Live your life. Don't sit at home watching, cheap soap operas in The View or something like that, or whatever they watch. Don't hang out in bad places. Enjoy beauty and nature. Go to Yosemite. There's someone here from Colorado, beautiful place, the mountains and everything. Appreciate the finer things of life. Learn your Catholic faith. Get up and serve the poor. A friend of mine here, he's at Mass, he said to me yesterday, when, Father, you wake up in the morning, you say to yourself, other people are more important than me. And then you give your life in service to Jesus and to others. A life well lived is one where we do ordinary things with extraordinary grace. Live your life well. A few weeks ago, there was a mother, a seasoned mother, should I say. She was a little frustrated about her kids. She was stressed with work and home life and rushing the kids from here and there and everywhere. And she said this, she goes, I do everything for my kids. I feed them, I wash their underwear, I drive them to their soccer things. Do moms, you sort of associate with this, I think. Right? And she said other things which I can't use in church. But anyways, she goes, they fight with me and they talk back to me and they drive me nuts. But then she said, but no matter what, I never stop being their mom. That's what we call a life well lived, where no matter what comes our way, joy or sorrow, we have to have the faith each day to begin the day and end the day with, yes, Jesus, I will do whatever you ask me. Now, if we do this, the rewards that we would get in this life may not be all that great. But I'll tell you, the reward, it's out of this world. Let's go back to my friend Jannah Molla. 11 years ago, May 16, 2004, a beautiful spring day like today, Jannah Beretta Molla was canonized a saint of the Catholic Church. a saint. She was the very last person canonized by Pope John Paul II. And her canonization was remarkable. You know why? Because it was the first time in the history of the church that a saint's husband and children and grandchildren were in St. Peter's Square to witness it. Would you like that? Would you like to see your mom a saint? Would you like to see her picture unveiled over the front of St. Peter's Basilica? Would you like to see your mom become a saint and they name churches after her and hospitals? I hope every man and child here and every one of us hopes that for our mom, to be saint. Saint Gianna Molla is the first working mom saint in our church's history. She is the patron saint of doctors, the patron saint of unborn children, and yes, the patron saint of soccer moms. So when you drive your Suburban Denali or whatever it is that you drive, put St. Gianna's picture on your dashboard and just remember what she did. Now on this Mother's Day, I'd like to pay a tribute to all the moms here. I'd like to base my words to you, dear mothers, on the words that Gianna's youngest daughter used when she gave a speech in honor of her mom's canonization. Her speech was so powerful that it made John Paul II cry. So I want to use her words today in this little tribute to you moms. So I invite all the mothers and the grandmothers and the godmothers and motherly figures, expectant mothers, to stand. Wow, there's a lot of moms here. So I'm going to speak to you, and I have you stand up because you'll be able to hear me better. But I want to speak to you on behalf of your husbands and your children. Look at your husbands and children if they're here. They all love you. No, please, dear mothers, listen to these words and let them sink deep in your heart. Dear Mommy, thank you for having given me the gift of life 2 times. First, when you conceived me, and second, when you permitted me to be born. Our lives are just simply the natural continuation of your life, of your joy of living, of your enthusiasm, of your beauty and grace, a continuation of your deep faith. Dear Mom, I want to dedicate my life to you today by serving the people that matter to you the most: the poor, the suffering, the lonely. Dear Mommy, thank you for the gift of life. We love you. We thank you. Happy Mother's Day, and God bless you all.